Boat. Yeah. So, my name is Rob, and I'll be skippering you through the canals for the next hour, showing you the hot spots here in Amsterdam in the blazing sunshine. I'm gonna tell you some stories about Amsterdam, of course, but if you have any questions whatsoever, just ask. I'll try to answer it. I've been living here for the last 40 years already. Not originally from Amsterdam, but from the east of the Netherlands. But there we go. So, yeah, completely Dutch, but I'm always very curious where everybody is coming from, what nationalities we have on the boat. Irish and English. There you go. Good combination, I think. You're welcome. Here for a long weekend or 4 days. Nice amount of time to explore everything. You're welcome. And in the back.
We're from the U.S.
All from the U.S. All traveling together. And family, friends. Family. Nice. Traveling through Europe or just Amsterdam? Europe. First stop? Second.
We're in London.
You were in London, and next Paris?
Paris, yeah. You got it.
That's always a good option. Yeah, Paris is nice too. Well, welcome. And the lovely girls here. Sorry? Scotland! Nice. Scotland as well. I'm proud to say that once I've been standing on top of the Van Nevis. I am, yeah. Didn't see a thing now. Foggy and a lot of snow. But a beautiful country. Oh, welcome. And the gentleman over there, also a big group, I think. Where are you guys from?
We are from Germany.
Germany.
But Germany is not cold.
Germany is not so cold.
Indeed.
Ah, you go to Germany to ski. Yes, yeah, but if we close it, you don't really see that much anymore. It's plastic, and also this is one of the last few beautiful days here in the country.
We will try it and we will open that. We will go for only this. For us.
It doesn't really help.
We will try it.
No, we don't know. We're not going to try it. It's taking a long time, and then I have to put it all up again. That's the trouble. Yeah, you booked an open boat, and otherwise you should have gone on a closed boat. Yeah, we have that as well. Yeah, and in the front, the ladies, where you from? Also Germany. Welcome. And over here,
We are from Arabia.
Arabia, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice and warm there, eh?
Yeah.
Welcome. And you, man?
Thailand.
Thailand. Ooh, also one of my favorite holiday destinations. Beautiful country. Welcome. And next to Thailand, England as well. Where in England? Yorkshire. Where's that? In the middle? Okay, well guys, welcome everybody. So currently we're sailing on one of the main canals here in Amsterdam, and this is the Prince Canal. Dug out in the beginning of the 17th century together with the two canals next to it. The Emperor's Canal and the Gentleman's Canal. So this was already the third layout of the city. Amsterdam really boomed in the 17th century. Yeah? We had an enormous company, the Dutch East Indian Trading Company, and that attracted a lot of people. There was a lot of money to be made. So Amsterdam, of course, is a lot older than that. In fact, Amsterdam was getting Lourdes V. 1275, so that means that this year we have our anniversary. Amsterdam is 750 years old. We had big parties already. On the 21st of June they closed off the highway. We had a party on the highway around Amsterdam. Rave parties, 40 couples got married as well. Quite an event. So yeah, this canal, well, you can see the houses here as well. A lot of them were used for storage as well. That big company I was talking about, mostly sailing for countries in Asia, and the main trade in those days were herbs and spices. Very expensive: pepper, nutmeg, cinnamon. Pepper, a little cup of pepper that was the equivalent of 300 liters of beer in those days. It was like gold. Not anymore. But we still use the phrase, something is pepper expensive. So the big boats, they came back from Asia and they docked behind Central Station. That was the open harbor, and then they unloaded it on smaller boats, took them on the canals here, and they put them in these warehouses here. And they, well, mostly stored it in the upper floors because we had the tide system within the canals. Amsterdam was connected to open sea. We had a big sea in the middle of the Netherlands. That's where the big boats went through as well. And they went to the north of the Netherlands, made a turn, and then they went all the way down to Asia. So they unloaded the boats there on smaller boats, and they took them on the canals, and then they stored it in these houses. But because of that tide system, we mostly stored it in the upper floors. But you might have noticed as well that a lot of these houses here are very narrow. That's also for a reason. Because you had to pay tax for the width of a house. That's why they're really narrow. That also means that the inside is narrow and the staircases are really narrow and steep. So to get it to the top wasn't really an option from the inside. So they figured out a new system, the hooks and the beams. And you can see that in almost every Amsterdam house in the top, you see the hooks and the beams. So what you do is you throw a rope around it and you just hoist it up to the upper floors and then pull it inside. It's a system that we still use for furniture and building materials, stuff like that. It's still very popular. Never walk underneath it though. You see a washing machine bungling in the air, can come down again as well. I've seen that happen. They throw down a washing machine and a guy on the street is going up there. Hotels, also the most expensive one. It's called the Rosewood. It's a 6-star hotel. I think it's even the first 6-star hotel in Europe. It used to be the Palace of Justice. But since we have no more crime in I'm just joking. It's quite luxurious. And here on the left-hand side, you can see some buildings with some names written on them. Those were the provinces from the 17th century. We had a republic in the 17th century. It's called the 7 united provinces of the lowlands, and Holland is one of them. So a lot of people still refer to our country as Holland, but it's from those days, and it's actually nothing more than a province. We're in Holland right now. It's been divided in the north and the south now, but yeah, it's from the old days. Nowadays we have a monarchy, yeah? We have a king, Willem-Alexander, married to his lovely wife Maxima from Argentina. Very lucky. And nowadays we have 12 provinces. So that big sea that I was telling about in the middle, they closed it up at the beginning of the 20th century. So there's a big dam in the end, and now it's a lake. That also means that we don't have salt water in the canals anymore, it's fresh water. And no more flooding. It's really controlled now. The water level is too high, they pump it into that big lake. If it's too low, they pump it back again. Unlike the old days, Amsterdam has been surrounded with locks. So that's the way they used to control it. Really needed water management because well, the open sea of course, and also Amsterdam is 2 meters below sea level. Schiphol airport is even 5 meters below sea level. That's why we're very good in building dams and stuff like that. There with the nice sunlight. It's the former hospital, the Prince Canal Hospital, and they turned it into nice apartments now and some commercial rooms. But you can see that big window in the top. That it's a beautiful loft now, but it used to be the operating room. It used to operate with natural light. You get an accident in night time. Cut off the wrong leg. So you might have noticed there are a lot of crooked houses here as well. A lot of houses are not really straight anymore. So if a house is leaning forward, that was done intentionally, especially for that hoisting. So if a house is leaning forward like that, a rope would be like that, move around a bit, wouldn't go straight through the windows. So those are the houses that lean forward. But if they're leaning to the left or to the right, you can see that a lot. That has something to do with the foundation. Amsterdam has been built on marshland, and well, first they had to reclaim the land, but still building on that reclaimed land, the houses would still sink, and they used a lot of long poles, long trees, mostly imported from the Black Forest in Germany. So they go through that marshland until they hit the sand layer, and then they have the stability. But in some cases these poles, they were not long enough. They sank a bit further as well, and also they have to stand in water. If the water level dropped and the poles felt dry, then oxygen gets in the poles and then they start to rot. And then they start to move around. Now most of them have been secured. There's a way of putting a new foundation underneath. They bring in these hollow pipes, they fill in with concrete. So they're all secured now, but it's not possible to straighten them anymore. Shoe in the water, that's all the boat. It's a Louboutin that we signed. Prins over de reguliers. Yeah, you might have noticed a lot of houseboats here in Amsterdam as well. We're now entering what we call the houseboat alley. So it's very popular to live on the water as well. A lot of houseboats were brought in after the Second World War. In the 60s it really exploded when the hippies came to Amsterdam. So it was very popular in those days as well. So here are some different houseboats. Here on the right hand side we call this one the submarine. You can actually dive. Never come up again though. And here also a very modern one with a beautiful shape. It's actually an architect's bureau. The architect was designing it and his wife was pregnant, so he designed it after the belly of his pregnant wife. And of course we ordinary Amsterdammers, we nicknamed it, now we call it the Kim Kardashian. Because of the beautiful shape, but lots of different types. The cargo boats, well, the shoe boxes we call these ones, drifting on a lot of concrete with air in between. And these are the old cargo boats, sometimes with a new construction on top of it. The hybrids. But we do like the old original cargo boats. They fit in the water the best here in the canals, I think. So yeah, a lot of them were brought in around that time. The only thing is, well, it was free actually. You could put your boat anywhere you'd like, but you were not connected to anything. So no electricity, no heating, and most of all, you were not connected to the sewer system. So it was all dumped in the canals. And since there were so many of them, that was kind of creating a problem, and they had to reduce the number. So they wrote out permits. So that permit was for life, and you kind of bought the spot and the length of your boat. And up until now, still the same number of houseboats. But it's so popular now to live on the water that, well, depending on location, people ask an enormous amount of goodwill money for these permits. And that can go up to hundreds of thousands of euros. So if you want to buy a boat, you have to buy that permit as well. And well, it's some of these boats, they can easily go over $1 million nowadays. It's just as expensive as a nice apartment here on the canals. And a lot of them, of course, are also Airbnb. We always say you can recognize the Airbnb boats because they mostly have the curtains closed. Dutch people always open the curtains. We've got nothing to hide. They say that goes back a long time as well. And when the sailors went away and the women stayed behind, they had to open the curtains so that everybody could see that there were no strange men going inside. Nowadays it's more like showing off your design furniture. But it's nice, when you walk the street at night time in Amsterdam, you can look inside everywhere. See their nice interiors, the nice chandeliers. And of course, when we sail the canals a lot, you see a lot of things that you actually don't want to see. We always say everybody has a naked neighbor. And if you don't see the naked neighbor, you're the naked neighbor. This is one of those hippies that left. Still here. So here we come on to the Amstel River. And this is the only natural body of water here in Amsterdam. All the rest has been dug out. You can see the old historic locks here on the right hand side. Not really in use anymore. So in the old days they also used these locks to build up the pressure here from the Amstel River. So then in the morning they would open them again and it would rinse the canals through like a big toilet. Clean the water. And right in front of us, that's one of the most iconic bridges of Amsterdam. It's called the Skinny Bridge or the Magere Brug. Beautiful also in nighttime and it's been lit with more than 1,000 lights. It also has a legend attached to it. We also call it the Lover's Bridge. So the saying goes that if you kiss your loved one underneath that bridge, your love will last forever. So get your timing right. Slow down the boat a bit. Yeah, he was thinking about it, but it is a long time. You can always swim back to undo it. Eh?
I didn't get it.
Yeah. They say the bridge got its name because there were two sisters living on either side. The sister Skinny, and they were drinking tea every day, but they had to walk all the way around. So they asked their daddy to build the bridge, which he did, and he ran out of money, so they had to put a small plank in the middle. So if you passed each other in the middle, you really had to squeeze. And of course, the boys, they would take advantage of it. They were waiting on one side, looking if there was a nice girl coming from the other side, and then trying to meet them in the middle and squeeze. Skinny bridge. Here on the right there's also a nice museum. It's the Heart Museum. In the old days, not even that long ago, it was called the Hermitage. It was a collaboration with the museum in St. Petersburg. But then the war started between Russia and Ukraine, and the art was sent back to Russia. So now they call themselves the Heart Museum, Hermitage Art. And they have different collaborations with different museums. Now there's one with Santa Cruz, with the famous sculpture Marcusi. Quite impressive. Nice to see. Worthwhile. In the old days it used to be the place where the widows and the children stayed. We're now passing, going underneath the blue bridge. Not blue anymore. It used to be blue. It was a wooden bridge, but they had to reinforce it because the tram had to go over it. So they sent the architects to Paris to get inspired. Now this bridge looks a lot like one of these bridges going over the Seine River and the Pont Alexandre III. A bit of Paris here in Amsterdam. So this is also where the name Amsterdam comes from. Amstel, they built a big dam in the end of it, which now is Dam Square, where the palace is. So Dam Amstel eventually turned into Amsterdam, like many cities here in the Netherlands. Yeah, so we were talking about a lot of crooked houses now coming up here on the left-hand side. These are the most famous ones. You might have seen that on postcards as well. These are what we call the dancing houses or the drunk houses. Very crooked, and we call them the dancing house. Behind it is Rembrandt Square with a lot of cafes and bars. So they're just enjoying themselves, warming each other up. The only one standing straight though is the Irish pub. Irish people love it. Some hoes all liquor. The mulligans. Yeah, the little tower there is called the coin tower. They used to make coins in. Dancing houses. Also a nice hotel in the middle. They have great advertisements. They call themselves the Cupid Hotel. They say, if you have any trouble in your relationship, come to our hotel. So you might have a big fight in the evening and end up on both sides of the bed. In the morning, you're always together on the same side. Yeah, that hotel there. Amsterdam Canals. View of the exit. Also some modern architecture here on the left hand side. Well, people in Amsterdam are not really fond of these buildings. They think it doesn't really fit in the scenery. We like the right hand side, but the left hand side, well, I think it's a bit ugly. It's the Opera House over there. And of course we make up nicknames for it, and now people say it looks like a big toilet bowl. Kind of does a bit. It does have a very good acoustic. They say it's the second best after the Opera House in the city. So. And next to it is the City Hall. Also not very pretty. It does have a nice bar underneath. You can have a beer. Collect your driver's license and then lose it in the same day. It's also known for the fact that in 2001, 1st of April, the first same-sex marriage in the world took place. 4 couples got married and hey! And they're still together. There's also I think one couple, one lady died, but it's a better average than any straight one. Under the Lovers Bridge, we have another little bridge there. It's just as beautiful. It's just a bit shorter. We call that one the Tinder Bridge. So if you kiss underneath that bridge, your love will last at least for 48 hours. That's perfect for Amsterdam. And they're building up these constructions here. We're in December and January, and we have the Light Festival in Amsterdam. So a lot of different artists, they built up these sculptures and light objects. It's gonna be good. Yeah, now we sail into a different canal again. This one is called the Gentleman's Canal. Well, you can see a main difference in housing. Eh? The houses here are much bigger and wider. So this is where the rich people live. The ones that did really well with the trading in the Dutch East Indian Trading Company, the bankers, the mayors, and it was all about showing off as well, because the only way to do it was paying a lot of tax. Look at me, I can pay more tax than you can. So also windows, you have to pay tax for windows as well. If you really wanted to show off, you put little windows in the big ones. Then you would charge for every little window. Even the staircases in front of the house would charge for that. Height even better. One extra step, more tax. But nowadays, mostly companies here, they're too expensive, these houses, and the big banks, they took over, the big firms. De flagship ook Torbekke naar de burgemeester. And of course a beautiful hotel here as well. This is the Waldorf Astoria. It's not only the building with the flag here in the middle. They brought the whole block. So this is all Waldorf Astoria. And it's quite expensive. The White House, you can get that in total. It's got 6 bedrooms. It only costs you 25,000 euros for one night, with a minimum 3 nights. So a weekend in Amsterdam, 75,000 euros. Behind this bridge, by the way, you can see a straight canal, and you can count 7 bridges in a row when you look in that direction. So it's quite unique for Amsterdam. Amsterdam has kind of been built in the canal system around Central Station, so in the shape of an onion ring. This is one of the few straight canals, and you're lucky you can count 7 of them. Oh, they even put on the lights. Sorry. I was going to say it's beautiful in nighttime when all the lights are on, but they pressed the button already. So yeah, quite expensive. I can tell you that that house over there with that flagpole with the Dutch flag wrapped around it, that was not too long ago sold for 15 million euros. So quite big houses. They have enormous gardens in the back. Amsterdam is quite green, all built in big blocks with big gardens in the middle. And in the old days, in the end of that garden, they used to have the stables, the horses and the carriages. They would come up front, of course, if they wanted to go somewhere. So it's quite a big property. There's someone living here for free as well. That house over there with the balcony and the 2 pillars, that's the house of the mayor. It's the first female mayor of Amsterdam. Took a second finally, she's not at home, otherwise the flag would be out. Here an enormous building on the left-hand side. This was built as a trading bank. But as you can see, it's far too big for the surroundings. Couldn't get a permit for it. But he was also the owner of the house of the mayor. He said, why don't I donate my house to the city so that the mayor can live there? And the city accepted. And he got the permit. It's a little bribe. But now it's the city archive, so you can go in there and do some fact checking as well. They have lots of old documents. They even have a document of Anna Frank reporting a bike stop. So here we come into the what we call the Golden Bend, considered the more beautiful houses even in the 17th century. So this was all made possible by that Dutch East Indian Trading Company, and a lot of it was invested back into the city. It was the biggest company ever. Even if you would place it in our modern times, then you have to put a lot of multinationals together, it would still be bigger. It would now have an estimate value of more than 8.5 trillion euros. So they had their own army, their own currency, most ships in the world. And it attracted a lot of people. You could invest it with any amount in these boats. And if you were lucky and the boat returned, then you could have a profit of more than 300%. So it was worthwhile. It was also the first company you could buy shares in. It was like the beginning of capitalism. And foundations for a lot of countries as well. Like for example New York, that once was called New Amsterdam. And yeah, a lot of the neighborhoods in New York refer to the little towns around Amsterdam, like Haarlem, or Harlem of course, and Brooklyn, Breukelen, but also like the Yankees. Two first Dutch names, Jan and Kees. And we still have a little street in a red light district that's called the Walstraat, for Wall Street. The Wallen. They even had a system. If you invested in a boat, you needed some proof, so they had a stick. They carved the stick and then they broke it in half. Then one half went with the captain on the boat and the other half stayed here in the safe. And if the boat returned, then you put the stick back together again and you would get paid. But the stick in Dutch means stock. So it was a stockbroker.
Naar privéetje op de reguliers.
De flagship van de heren de Leidschip. Yeah, probably one of the smallest front doors you can see there on the corner. And also a famous bench here. I don't know if anyone saw the movie Fault in Our Stars. Well, that was the bench they were making out of.
Oh, strafwerk, ga maar.
flagship op de Leidse, de Keizershoek naar het westen. Different canal again. This one is called the Emperor's Canal. Also the widest canals of the three.
Roos, kom maar even voorbij de hoek hoor. Ik heb geen haast, kom maar voor. Dankjewel man, komt-ie.
So this is a nice area, all these little streets connecting the main canals. It's called the 9 streets. Good for shopping, nice the smaller boutique shops. It's nicer to walk around here than in the main shopping streets, I think. Also a lot of cafes and restaurants and TikTok lines. We have that as well. For fable fries, I don't know if you know that. You read about it on TikTok. And the cookies. Some people stand here for hours in line. Never had it, so I can't say if it's worthwhile. I'm waiting for French fries. It never was.
Eindelijk van je. B4, hier de Leidse. Een beetje uit afwegen naar de Keizer toe.
Good. It's also why you see a lot of seagulls here. They all try to get a bit of a French fry for their lunch. So you can see above these front doors, these beautiful hall windows, they all have different symmetrical designs in them. They're quite beautiful. It is also a way of showing where you live. So before 1800, I think Napoleon came here around 1800, 1803, we didn't have house numbers. So this was a way of making clear where you live. So talking about canals, they dug out these canals in the beginning of the 17th century. It took them a while. They had to do it with a shovel, of course. And they started from Central Station, and until they were halfway, that already took them 10 years for the 3 main canals. So any idea how deep the canals are? Take a good guess. What do you think? How much? Exactly on the spot. You knew. 3 meters, 10 feet. That's it. We always say in Amsterdam it's 1 meter of water, 1 meter of mud on the bottom, and on top of that 1 meter of bicycles. Inside, yeah?
The bicycle?
Lots of bicycles. It's one of the reasons that you're not allowed to swim in the canals. Well, the water is pretty clean, and of course there are lots of boats, but because of all these bikes in the water, well, Amsterdam is the only city in the world where you can get hit by a bike under the water as well, so it's too dangerous. There are 2 guys, they have a big boat with a crane and they work for the city. All they do is take out bikes, and they have an average every year of 15,000 bikes that they pull out of the water. And of course they don't catch them all. So, yeah, some of them are left here. Yeah, the wind blows them in, but there are also a lot of people that throw in bikes. They get great pleasure out of it. I don't know why. Angry ex-girlfriends, of course. And of course, cars end up in the water as well. On the side, you can see these metal bars. They've been put there by insurance companies. There was a big peak when Elon Musk came up with the Tesla, and that did automatic parking, but it was a bit off. It didn't really recognize the canal, so they pressed the button and the car parked itself, but they would slowly disappear into the canals. Fun to watch. So that's also a tip. If you drive your car into the canal, sit on top of your car. Don't swim to the side. Because if you sit on your car, then the insurance company sees it as a rescue mission and they pay for the costs. If you swim to the side, you have to pay for it yourself. Lots of restorations around here on the bridges and the canal walls. Some of the canal walls already have collapsed. So that's also why you can see it in the next stretch. They put these metal plates into the water. Just for protection. It's really expensive and it's taking a long time. They just need time to turn it into gardens. Ook de flagship zo van de keizers, de Lady of naar de prinses. building here on the left, this big building here, that's the Astoria building. But the funny thing is, well, not funny. It was in the Second World War. This was the headquarters of the SS. And well, the Anne Frank house is just around the corner. The gardens, they kind of connected. You could hear them as well, I think. Yeah, so this is the last corner we're gonna make. We're almost back at where we started. I do hope you enjoyed the tour. If you have any questions still, please ask them. That's something you want to know. Yeah, please stay seated and watch your arms on the side here while I'm going to talk about in a little while. De flagship ook van de Lely, de Prince of Amsterdam.
Captain, no sinking.
Ah,
No sinking.
No
Everybody
sinking.
à la piste, tout le monde à la piste.
not today. I hope. And there we are back at the Western Town.